Yes.
Welcome to Straight Out of Savannah. I am so excited. I have a beautiful guest here. She is going to introduce herself. She is an amazing seer. Among other things, she has so many amazing gifts. I found her on Facebook and I had to get her on my virtual couch. So, y'all, come on and join me in welcoming her to the stage and allowing her to give her introduction of herself and let you know who she is, what she does, and then we gonna get into it. All right, so take it away.
Hi, everybody. I'm so honored to be here on this podcast. Tammy, thank you so very much. My name is Queen Seer. And as you heard in the name, I am a seer. All seers are prophets, but not all prophets are seers, right?
Yes.
But and what I do for a living is more so behavioral science. So I take behavioral patterns when it comes to trauma, when it comes to certain things that we went through in our experiences in life, and we see how we can make an individual plan. So for self development and elevation. I am certified in clinical hypnotherapy, mindfulness awareness meditation, Reiki 3 master. And my seer gifts was just my seer gifts. They've been natural since I was a kid.
Oh, I was
It's
going to
just
ask
always
about that.
been
Go
there.
ahead.
Yeah, it's always been there. But first and foremost, I'm here to assist others. I'm not really big on titles like that. I have them, but I'm just Karen or Queen Seer. I'm here to assist you. You're here to assist me. So that's how I look at it. Um, yeah, I love what I do. I love assisting people. I love what I do. And thank you so much for this opportunity, love.
You are so welcome. And I mean, just your energy is fire. I just have to tell you. And I'm trying to find me something to write on because I usually scribble a little bit I found something. I scribble a little bit as we go, as you talk and stuff, and that helps me to name the episodes and stuff like that. And but anyway, but I'm just excited for you to be here and on this day, this beautiful day, let's say that, January 7th. I'm so excited. And
Thank
just
you.
I mean, just I think you did a what was that you did? You had a healing that I did. And
Yes.
I don't even know how I found you. It was nothing but God. Seriously, because when I looked at the thing, I said, how did I get here? I said, did I get it from a group that was in chat? And I was like, but when I got in there, because I don't even, yeah, I don't do those often because, they trigger
Yeah,
me,
it's a lot. It's intense.
right?
Yeah.
And energy and yeah, so I don't usually, but for some reason I was in it and you had posted, I think it was some type of hypnosis or something.
Yes,
It's a
yes.
healing. Yeah.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
do write hypnosises and I do put them together and put them and upload them on YouTube. I've been a little slow at them recently because I do individualized ones for my clients. So that
Mhm.
takes time
Oh
when
yeah.
I'm recording them and adding those solfeggio, I'm saying
Yes.
it wrong, the frequencies and everything on there,
Mhm.
adding the chakra cleansings and everything on there. So it takes me more time now to get to my YouTube, but that's something I really do enjoy doing. I
Yeah.
really do enjoy recording them and creating them and feeling them. They're really a passion of mine, and that is my, passion project is those recordings. And I'm so happy that you were able to. It resonated with you, and you were able
Oh
to find the healing
God.
in them as well.
It was so fire. Because I've been on that journey, where um I've been on a deep healing journey because I've been healing through long COVID for
Hmm.
years.
Hmm.
And I don't know if you know, but the symptoms are so crazy and so varied. And the way that it affected me the most was the brain fog. It seemed to send brain fog to another level. And
Oh
then I'm
yeah.
dealing with my personal hot flash summers journey.
Okay.
And,
And a lot of people don't know that hypnosis helps with stuff like that. And
right.
a lot of people don't know that hypnosis is something that we go through on the natural. We go into hypnosis about 15 to 10 to 15% of our day
Yeah.
naturally, all
Yes.
on our own. When we're watching TV, when we're driving, washing those
Yes.
dishes, we go into that
Yes.
trance. Hypnosis is how we learned our ABCs. That's how you know the song on the radio, because the law of repetition. All right. As it repeats, it goes deeper and deeper, and it creates those neurological pathways in your brain and all that. And it goes deeper and deeper into the subconscious, where it becomes a behavior,
Yes.
you know, where it becomes a behavior and you're just so used to it. But when people hear the word hypnosis, they kind of get a little scared, because all
Yeah.
they could think about is the hypnosis that they see on TV, not
People have me
knowing that.
barking like a dog.
Yeah, exactly. And I've gotten questions like that too. Hey,
I
can you make
know
me quack
it.
like a duck? And I'm like, maybe, for a fee, you know, for a fee, you know. But really, to be honest with you, hypnosis has been something that the government has been using for years
Yes.
to astral project,
Yes.
to remote view other
Yes.
people. The
Yes.
government, the CIA, they've been using hypnosis for years, and also psychiatrists
Yeah.
have been using hypnosis for years. So most of the people who have hypnotherapy or clinical hypnotherapy certifications are psychiatrists. Okay. But behavioral health therapies or behavioral scientists have those certifications as well, because we understand the behavior patterns, and that's all subconscious.
Yeah. Yeah. And that makes so
Okay.
much sense.
Yes.
How
Yes.
did you decide to um how were you able to marry those? Because I know it's all you, but how were you able to marry, your gifts along with the hypnosis and the behavioral modification? Because you do behavioral modification and counseling and so.
Right.
So how were you
Right. With the
able to
subconscious.
marry those? Because I know a lot of people that do everything, all of those things, but they don't all do them together a lot of times. But I can see that it works for you, how you put them together and how you marry them. So let's talk a little bit about, how did you even get the idea to do that?
Well, I stumbled upon it out of the blue. I didn't even know I was doing hypnosis.
Okay.
And I had a couple of friends, and they were going through things, and I was going through things. And I was known as the prayer warrior.
Yeah.
All right. So I started speaking. It started off as a prayer, and then I went in, take a deep breath. I heard it before I can see it or say it. I heard, tell them to take a deep breath. I take a deep breath. Tell them to do this, and they would do it. And
Hmm.
I didn't know that I was doing a hypnosis method called desensitization.
Yes.
Okay. And I didn't know it until I went to school, and I was like, that's what
I just finished studying this. That's the reason why when you're saying it, I'm like, oh yeah, that's what that is. Oh yeah.
Yeah, so it started off as me just helping my friends get out of that darkness. And I know that it's a deep within type situation.
Hmm.
Sometimes we always look for the issue on the outside, but
Hmm.
a lot of the times, a lot of our things can be fixed by just going within. So,
Yeah.
and that's what I was telling them. And I just finished my mindfulness awareness certification. So I'm like, you know what? Let me just put this into work. I know what's going on. Let me put awareness on what's going on with them, and then make it disappear in that meditation and put something else there to replace it. And that's what hypnosis is. It's reprogramming the subconscious mind. I just wanted them to feel better. I
Yeah.
just wanted my friends to feel better.
I was gonna say, and
And
you were doing it without even knowing.
not even knowing. And I counted them out too. I was like, I'm gonna count to three, y'all get. And I just heard it. Believe it or not, I heard everything I had to say before I said it.
Yeah.
And that's what it was. And when they came out, they was like, oh my God, I feel so great. Oh my God. They was like, what did you just do? I was like, I don't know. I think I took you on a journey. I was like, maybe that's what I did. I did a meditative journey. I don't know what I did. But it took me having a learning about quantum healing.
Yes.
Okay. Learning about quantum healing and past life regressions, that I was like, is that what I did? And I saw one being done on YouTube. And I was like, get out. That's very similar to what I was doing with my homies. I'm like, oh, and I called them up. I was like, yo, remember when I was doing all this right here? Yo, it's called hypnosis.
It's got a name, and
Yo,
people
how about
actually
I
pay to do
hypnotize
it.
y'all?
Exactly. Mm.
So I am a very in tuned person when it comes to energy, spirits, anything like that. Very in tuned. So I wanted to offer a divine approach to the hypnosis, but also keeping it along the lines with the science of it, of creating new neurological pathways, having those yogic breathings, those breathing patterns to open you up,
Wow.
remembering to do the suggestions. Um, I pretty much just let go and let spirit just guide, like what do the collective need?
Mm.
uh, what do they need that maybe I'm not seeing? Or I will do something for myself. And then I'm like, yo, this was pretty good. And I might tweak it a little bit and I'll record it and I'll put it on YouTube. But most of the time it's because I was doing something for me.
But that, I mean, if you think about it, that's what invention is.
Yes.
Necessity is the mother
Yes.
of invention, because we needed it. It's how we create our programs and even stuff. You know what I mean? Like that's the program I'm working on now is because I saw the need because I wish I had the guidance that I'm providing
Yes.
for these
Yes.
other people in order to
Yes.
get the space where I know that they can get to, but I didn't have
Yes.
no guidance. I didn't have, because my person was my grandmother and she transitioned. Oh Lord, I think it's 20 years to this year.
Oh, wow.
So I didn't have, like I already had told you about the other situation, but so I didn't have anybody to like bounce things off on because I would bounce stuff off of my grandma and talk to her about things and everything. I could talk to her about everything, but she, like I said, she was gone. So when I was going through my transition, I had nobody. So I was like, okay, what do I do? And same thing with you. I would hear, do this,
Yeah.
go here,
Yeah.
go get
Yeah.
some counseling, go do that, go take care of that, go have some fun, stuff. And so I started, I was like, you know what? I can help people with that,
Yes. And
you
that's
know?
how I think with me, I don't remember a time when I didn't want to help somebody. And that is from trauma. That is from trauma. Um, didn't really I didn't really meet my parents like that until, certain ages. I met my father. I was with my grandmother, and then I met my father. I didn't meet my mother till I was well of 8 years old, almost nine,
Oh, wow.
So in meeting her and living with her, I had a lot of alone time, which was a stark difference from when I lived with my father. My father is a family guy, have family everywhere, cousins everywhere, little, we're always playing together, visiting family, where she was kind of different. She was more reserved. She wasn't into family like that. She was more into her friends and what her friends are to her. So it was a different shift. And being alone like that, I started reading. I
Yeah.
started writing just weird stories, drawing. I started picking up on other creative things that I feel kind of helped with the coping. This is somebody I just met. I don't really know her. We're not connecting like that the way that, I thought we would connect, like the way my father connected with me.
Right.
So we're not connecting on that level. I don't know her. I don't know what she wants from me. So I just kind of felt weird. And like I said, I was alone a lot and it was a stark difference. Though she has other children, she didn't raise those other kids. I always felt like she felt that she was bamboozled into raising me.
Gotcha. Yes.
You
Yes.
know?
Yes. Yes.
You get what I'm saying? Because, like,
I
my
get you.
dad's dead. My grandmother was like, I already have your three sons. Okay. The stepmom, she left me with the stepmom a little longer than what she was supposed to. And the stepmom was like, what kind of bullshit is this? You not gonna come get your child? Like, so you're not gonna come, you just gonna keep visiting her and not go with her? And so they had to talk to her and tell her, you need to take care of your child.
Yeah.
But I believe I wasn't with that conversation, but knowing my mother, I think she probably did tell them that she wasn't ready. Like, she's not trying to be nobody mama. She just want to live her life.
You
And
know,
plus I had medical issues too. She wasn't ready to, she
it's a
wasn't
lot of
about that.
women like that though. I mean, a lot of women
There is.
that honestly, if you would be honest, you know, and I'm gonna be honest, it's a lot of women that they ain't got no business having no kids. None.
Yes. Yes, that is very,
None.
very true. They have no business having no children, especially if you're going to ruin those kids' lives and
That's what
put
I'm saying.
trauma into them.
None. None.
Yeah,
And
none at all.
it's terrible. Now they're trying to force, you know, women to have these children and stuff like that. It's
Well,
crazy.
you know what? Back then, during my mother's time, they had matriarchs.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
She just would give her kids to her mama and be gone.
Yeah.
Her mama had them kids. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? That
Yeah.
So my father saw that she gave the kids to her every time she would have a kid. Her mother would have to deal with it. So my father took me. Okay, he was like, I'm gonna take care of my own child. You know what I'm saying? Because she out here wilding.
Hmm.
She wilding. She was gone living her life. So there's no a lot of matriarchs. There's not a lot of big mamas out here. You
No,
don't really see.
because the grandmama is 40, you know, wait, 35.
Mm-hmm.
Mama is what? 15, 20. You know what I mean? The child
Yeah,
is 5. You see what I'm saying?
yeah, yeah,
So you
yeah.
don't have, you know, and yeah, you and especially in our communities.
Right. You don't have those older women that had years of experience raising children, going through situations to help guide you on the path of you becoming a mother yourself. I think it's by the grace of God alone that I didn't, turn away from having children, and I'm excited myself to become a matriarch for my kids, grandkids, or my grandkids, to help them with that. But not a lot of people, a lot of women are into that anymore. It's not seen or known. So it's pretty much something that I'm going to be creating, and you can be creating, and other women will be creating from lasting memories and wisdom, right? Because I did have a grandmother, but she was in Haiti.
Oh, okay.
Okay. She was in Haiti and she already was taking care of 3 boys. That's why my dad came and got me, and I ended up in America.
Gotcha.
Okay, she already was taking care of my mama 3 boys, and my mama ain't look like she was gonna stop. So my dad was like, "I'm just gonna take mine, and I'm gonna take her to America, and y'all could be okay with that. Like, she gonna be mine." And so I was brought up with a stepmother, my dad's family, a lot of people, a lot of people. And it's a shame. I'm sorry to say that when I had my first child, I was alone.
Hmm.
I was alone. I didn't have my mother. My mother wasn't there. I
Your
had
grandmother
my,
had already left?
did my mother what?
Oh no, your grandmother was in Haiti.
Yes, my grandmother was still alive. My grandmother met my daughter.
Oh, nice.
That's the only of my kids that she met was my daughter. She even had my daughter for about 6 months.
Okay, nice.
So, that's crazy. Not my mother, my grandmother. Anyways,
You know what?
um,
I know exactly what you're talking about because
yes, yes,
my
not
mother
my
actually
mother,
said
my
now,
grandmother in Haiti. My
yeah,
my daughter was born here. We were here. My daughter born in Florida, but
hmm,
she ended up in Haiti with my grandmother
yeah,
because my grandmother cared for her or whatnot. We just had my little girl's dad and his family, and his mom. She never had children. He's adopted. She kind of felt bad that she wasn't there to give me as much support as he wanted. That's what she told me one time. She apologized, and she was like, maybe if it was my daughter Crystal, I would do more and I would try. But then that hurt me even more because it's like, because I'm not your daughter, you're not even going to try. You're not even going to try, which it just triggered that I have a mother and she won't try either,
right.
right? She
The
rather
abandonment woman.
hurt you so it could push you away, so she could have an excuse to say, "Oh, she doesn't want to be, have a relationship with me," right?
Yeah.
So, but the funny thing about that story is that spirit is a very powerful powerful entity.
What you talking about?
Very bad. Even though my mother wasn't around between the ages of my daughter from being born to 2 years old, it seems like women would just appear and be like, hey, where that baby going? Let me see that baby. Now put this on the baby. Don't let the baby do this. My auntie, she would take my baby and she'd be like, you just roll her head like this, and that'll shape her head and that'll help her feel relaxed and
Oh,
everything.
that's such a blessing.
Oh my
It's
God, I
like God
got
got you.
blessed double fold.
Hmm.
Double fold. My auntie took orange leaves, boiled them, showed, and it got my baby cradle cap and all of that other residue off of her with just the natural tonics.
Yeah.
Then when I left, church people just adopted me. And they knew I was alone. They knew my mother wasn't there, right? So they would always call me, check on me, send me things, give me tips. And one tip that this one lady told me from church, I will never forget her. My daughter was like maybe 3, 4 months. And she's like, how you making out with that baby? I said, we making out all right. And she said, you must spend all your time with her. And I said, yes, I do. I love her so much. Oh my God, yes, I do. And she said, no. She said, I'm gonna tell you this right now, baby. You might not want to hear it because your baby a newborn and you attached, but you're gonna have to detach from your child and still live your life.
That
Okay,
is,
you
that,
still got school, you still got to go back to school, you still
that's
got,
huge.
come on. And when she said that, it hit me like a ton of bricks. And I knew she was hitting me with that wisdom.
Yep. Yep.
I knew. So I got up and I got me a job. So I got up and I was like, let me join the praise and worship team at church and stuff so I could have other women around me. And that's what she said. You need other women around you. Even if you had your mom, that's not enough.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's not enough. And
Yeah.
she said, I'm always here. You can call me. You can call such and such. We're always here. We're always going to make sure that you're okay.
Man,
And
that's
so, even though
God.
my mother wasn't there, spirit still had a way of manifesting a mother energy to come to me, anyways.
Yeah.
It wasn't my mother, but
Isn't
it was
that
a
amazing?
mother. Girl, it wasn't
The
my
thing
mama.
but the thing is, you got what you needed,
Yes, it was
even though
a
it didn't
mama.
come from
Yeah.
who you wanted it to come from. You got what you needed.
Yes.
That's the point. That's the point. That's the point. I love it because I feel the same way. And because sometimes I'm like I live in an apartment complex and
Hmm.
there's a couple of young mothers here. And one girl, she reminds me so much of me because she's like 27 or something like that. And she got two kids and she's split up from her husband and all this stuff. And so, I always try to give her a little bit of wisdom, you know?
Yes, and that's so important. And there was somebody like that for me as well. What you're doing for this young lady. There
Mhm.
was somebody in the apartment complex. Let me see that baby. I got such and such and such and such. I could give her that. She was like, "Oh, when she start doing that, just do this. They all do that, girl. It's okay." Like, um, that just made me feel as though that I wasn't alone at all, even though I felt alone because society said that my mother had to be there with me.
Yeah.
Society said you needed to have her to be able to be a good mom. And lo and behold, I'm a good mom anyways because it's the love of my heart,
What you say? No.
the love of my heart for my children that helps me to learn from my mistakes. Okay, well, I don't know how to do that. Let me see what these other parents are doing. Let me go read this book right quick. Let me go read this Mommy 365 magazine right quick.
And now you could go on TikTok right quick.
Okay, let me go to TikTok
Find
right quick.
a
Back
minute
then, they
video that
used
will
to
tell
have.
y'all about it.
Back then, I went to a big church, so they had small groups. They had a new mommy small group, and it
Yeah,
had older mommies paired with the newer mommies. So,
that's
and they
nice.
would help us. So, um, I don't hold a grudge over it. A lot of people are like, "How can you forgive that if you only knew the power of spirit, man?" A lot of people look
The
at me and be
thing
like, "How
is,
can you talk to your mom still?" It's because you don't know how spirit always came through for me.
right, right. And the thing is we can't judge their journey.
No, we
You
can't.
know, because we don't know, all the things, and so many things. Because I went through that. My mother was 18 when I was born, and I think there was probably a period of time where, she was not going to have me. You know what I mean? And so I think about that, and I think that, you know what? She did that thing. She felt disappointed, felt like
Hmm.
people were disappointed in her, because of, who she was and the things that she was doing and stuff. And I had to think about all that stuff, and I had to give her grace in that, in the fact that I needed to forgive her.
Yes, you do. Yes, and I gave my mother grace in a lot of things as well. I'm the only one out of her siblings that actually took counseling very seriously and started proactively and continuously
Healing.
healing
Yes.
scars and wounds because it's not linear. It's not like a one and done. It'll
Oh,
keep
y'all
going.
say
Yeah.
that.
But I even had the pleasure of counseling her,
Ah,
you know, and you're like the second person that said that. They was like, girl, really? I'm like, yeah, I ended up counseling my mother. She would call me and she'd be like, don't be my daughter. Don't be my daughter. You are my counselor right now. And I'd be like, okay, Miss Noel, how may I help you today, my dear? How have you been doing?
nice, nice.
You've been doing your breathing exercises. Have you been remembering certain things? And I don't want to talk about that. I want to talk about this. And she'll talk and talk, and I will give her an advice like she's a client, my mother.
Yeah.
And then it came to a point where she had to understand, and she started apologizing to me.
Wow.
Yeah, she started apologizing to me about certain things that she did, realizing her mistakes now that she finally took a good look at me. Now that she finally, like, really,
Saw you.
she actually was like, you're actually, she told me, she said, baby, I never tell you this before, but you are very smart. And she said, I thought you wasn't going to be smart, but you smarter than me.
That's
You
awesome.
smarter than me. And she said, how come you not married? How come you don't want a man? And I was like, mom, I'm enjoying me and my kids. You know, I'm not really trying to jump into another relationship before I get to know Karen a little more because I realized I lost Karen in that relationship. And she was like looking at me perplexed. And she was like, and then I said, when I'm ready to find a man, I will find a man on the level that I am right now because I'm not the same person that was back then. Right.
You don't have to
And
find him anyway.
oh shit,
Because
girl, no, it's he's gonna come and it's
I
gonna
was
be
gonna
a
say, because
compliment to me. It's gonna
alignment
be
is
a
gonna,
compliment to me. He's
yes,
gonna compliment me. It's gonna be an attraction thing. I won't
yes.
have to go looking.
No.
Right. So she was like, I never thought about that in my life. When I break up with one man, I go get another man.
Yeah.
You take your time to get to know you. I said, what time did you give yourself to get over the hurt from the other man with this man?
None. And it's conditioning.
There you go. And she had to think about it and she said, nothing. I said, did you treat that other man like that man? And she's, yeah, because they are liars and they are this. And I said, are they all liars or the one that you was with was a liar and you treated that man, the next man as a liar and then he lied to you? She stopped in her tracks. She was like, I about it like that.
Well, if you think about it, most people don't.
They don't. They
Which is
don't.
why we talk to these people like that, because we see it. We're like, girl, don't you know you on this roller coaster, you on this merry-go-round, and
They
you
don't
just go
know. They
round
don't
and
know.
round and
They
round
don't.
and I tell them,
Sometimes some of them might do know, but a
but they don't know how to
majority
get
of them
off.
it's unintentional
Well, they don't know how to get off either.
because they didn't know how they got in.
Well, it's conditioning, just like she said. You know how many women we hear say the same thing? You know the best way to get over one man, get
Is
under
to get
another
another
man?
man. Yeah. And that's not it. That's not
No,
it
that's
at
not it.
all. That isn't
No,
it at all.
no.
And she never thought about that, but that's our mothers. My mother was born in the 60s. That's her generation and their mindset. My grandmother was born in I believe, the 30s, the early 30s. So her generation saw it different, and we're seeing it different in our generation and the generations beyond, too. Um, And this goes back to, where are the matriarchs?
See, my mother is now the matriarch now.
There we go.
Yeah, we just realized that I think about last year, she said, actually, I realized it before she did, but she said, and because she said, so and so is calling me, and like all my cousins, they call her, about stuff that, is going on or whatever to get her insight on stuff. And I said, Ma, I said, they're calling you because you're the matriarch now. You're like the oldest person on that side of the family, female. I said,
Yeah.
male too. I said, all everybody else older than her is gone, you know?
Also, is there a possibility, and I know there is there's also possibilities that there are matriarchs in the family, but it's not appreciated as it was before.
Oh yeah, that's always a thing.
Yeah, it's not
Because
appreciated as it was before, and they don't realize the wisdom of the matriarch until the matriarch is gone and they fall into this spiral, and they're like, yo, she did so much for us, or she held us together, kept us calm so much that we didn't realize that.
yeah,
Um,
the peace.
yeah,
Because
taking things for
you think
granted.
about it, we're like, because like after my grandmother left, we used to always get together at her house because she had 10 kids. So it was always a lot of us, a whole bunch of cousins. And we would get together at her house and, bring food and she would cook and then we would bring, dishes and stuff. And, and usually it was me and my siblings that cleaned the kitchen after everybody, left and all that stuff. But, it's just, it's amazing how that happens and how it's like a whole thing. Like we don't even like do family reunions like we used to, and
Yeah.
my family, girl, they like to have them in the South in July, and I'm just not doing that. I mean, that's
Yeah.
insane. I'm like, it's too
Yeah.
hot. I had to tell them, my mom goes, yeah, we're having a family reunion. The Span family's gonna be in Hilton Head. I said, well, y'all have a good time. I said, because I will not be in Hilton Head in July of any year.
Mm-mm.
Said, I've been on
And
the
they
West
probably
Coast.
don't want to go anywhere outside of the South for the family reunion as well because of tradition.
See, and so that's okay, but that just means that I will not be participating.
But that is something you don't really see a lot of family reunion pictures, or people talk about they got their family reunion they're going to, or they got
Right.
this family trip that they're doing. That's something that even when I was a teenager, it started dwindling away slowly and slowly. People
Yeah,
started noticing that it's dwindling away a little bit
yeah,
more and more. But having those unifications will be what would help us young women, and all young women, or just women period, in times of need.
yeah.
you know just because we get older doesn't mean that we don't need some wisdom
No,
or some reassurance.
I was gonna say we need. It's a village. We need. We,
Yeah.
we need a village, even when we're young, when we're having our kids and growing our kids. We need a village, and even as we age, because you was talking about the '60s. I was born in the '60s.
Yeah, my mother is a 60s baby. Yeah.
And the community aspect of it is like, we still need that.
Yes, yes, my
It's
mother
not,
was raised in a different way different than what her kids were raised,
oh,
and I think she doesn't realize that, or want to realize that, or realize the impact of that dynamic on us, right? On her children, right? But she was raised with aunties, uncles, everybody, a community where when she started having children, she would separate us to different people, right? And so that opens the doors for different people to mistreat your child and to tell your child that they nothing because they're not your child. Right. Especially in the Caribbean, that's just like a thing. Stepmothers, stepfathers are like the meanest things to have in your life.
oh, so they
They
was
do
like
not
the
care for
Cinderella.
you. Huh?
I said they was like Cinderella,
Pretty much it's kind of
the
like that
wicked
in that
stepmother.
culture. Not all stepmothers are good. Majority of them, there's nightmares that you would hear from my culture.
Yeah.
So she doesn't understand. She never had a stepmother. She never had like things like that. She always had her mother there, her grandmother, her family there helping her.
See,
So when
that's the same situation that I dealt with that because like when my parents split up, I was little to this day, and I'm 56. I have no idea when my parents split up. I just know they split up. I went to live with my grandmother. My mother just like cut his ass out the picture, out the family portrait. And that was
Yeah.
it. She didn't talk about him. She didn't say nothing good. She didn't say nothing bad. She just didn't say anything, and I don't think she realized how that affected me because she had both her parents and everybody else around me, like my cousins and different ones, well, most of them had both their parents. And so nobody, really knew how to deal with that, and nobody really could help me. You know what I mean? And then it was like, everybody sweeps shit under the rug, how we do in our
Yes.
anyway. Oh,
Yes. We
yeah,
sweep it
yeah,
under the
that
rug. It
was
never
suppressed.
happened.
Never happened. Yeah.
Never happened, never existed. And this is how generational curses and generational behaviors become, you know, a cycle.
Yes, yes, that is
It
so,
becomes a cycle. A lot of people don't know that this thing that we call a body does a lot and means a lot. There's a lot of hidden information about ourselves and about the world just studying our own mind and our own energy centers.
yes,
But the DNA morphs and mutates consistently. And
yes,
people think, oh, what do you mean morph and mutate? We're not talking about Spider-Man or, Iron Man or anything like that. We're talking about your whole personality will shift.
yeah,
And one of the things that causes personality shifts is trauma, because trauma, it leaves a chemical marking on your DNA.
yes,
And that chemical marking changes the trajectory of who you were. You are not the same person when you were born. But like I said, our DNA mutates, it changes as we get older and experience things, right? We may have some dominant traits, but certain things can change and alter.
yes.
That altered chemical DNA from trauma, you could pass it down 14 generations.
I was gonna say I thought it was 7, but 14, I could see that. Because, I
14.
was telling somebody, I said, you think about it, especially for us. I mean, we're dealing with all of that trauma from the Middle Passage and all of that kind of stuff going on. We're dealing with all of that, plus the shit coming
That
up.
we go through as a normal person,
I was gonna say
right?
our stuff and then our parents' stuff and then their parents' stuff. Like
Baby, let's
in
go. Their
America, you got
traumas that
Jim
we gotta
Crow and
break. Yes.
you got all
Yes.
that. They got out of slavery and they, people going to war, they killing them after they get back. All this stuff, mistreating people and all the crap that's going on even today. And so, people are like, oh, but y'all should just get over it. Well, fuck you.
You can't get over something that is systematically and naturally being passed down over and over and over again. The
Yes.
systematic thing is one, but the DNA thing is a whole nother thing that we can't really do much about. The systematic thing that can be changed if it wanted to, right? If they wanted it to be changed, it could. But that DNA stuff is something that is hard for you because you don't even know. You don't even know. Imagine you living in this life and you went through a sexual assault situation that really got you in a traumatic spin,
Yeah.
got your amygdala just going overdrive. Your
Yes.
hippocampus is playing that scene over and over and over again. It becomes a part of your ruminating thoughts,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Now it is you. It's you. And you passed it down. Now you pregnant, you got married, you got a kid now on the way. That kid might not have it, but your kid have a kid and they're depressed, and you're like, why are you so depressed? You have great parents, you get great school, you get, what is it with it's predisposition
Yes.
because of something that happened to your mother or your
Yes.
great grandmother.
Yes.
So with that being said, a lot of times we got to have grace with our clients. We have to have grace with those people that we encounter, because truly and honestly, they don't know how deep this goes until we tell them.
They have no clue. Because I'll hear it with some of my friends that don't look like us. And they'll say stuff and and they don't know. You know what I mean? They don't know. And I used to get a little bit perturbed when I would hear some of the things, but then I realized that I had to give them grace too because they don't know.
They don't know any better. They
Have a
don't.
clue. And they're doing what they were taught and what they were conditioned to do and all of that kind of stuff. And so, yeah, I mean, it's just so deep, but this work, you girl, is like, I don't know about you, but this work for me is a calling. Like I decided I'm working on my master's in metaphysics and I want my PhD in ancestral healing.
Wow.
Yeah, because I'm
Wow.
like I really I know that it's a part of my journey and a part of what I'm supposed to do to um to carry on my grandmother's legacy and,
Yes.
and those before, because because I realized that I have generations of healers in my family. They were different and they did things differently, but it's generation of healers. And so when I started seeing that, I was like, okay. And then when this program popped up for me in my awareness, I said, oh, I want that. I want that. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And so I want to talk to you about we're gonna talk real quick because we're gonna have to get up in a few. But
Oh, this was so fun.
I know, right? We'll do it again. But I want to
Have to
talk real
definitely.
quick. Yes, because I think that, I'm listening to your story and I want to know how do you think that it affects your children?
And that's a very good question. And that's something that I've been working on a lot. Now, they do know my mother, they've experienced her. They do know the family. They do notice a difference between me and how I treat them and my mother and how she kind of treats me in a way, even though they didn't see much, right? They just notice a little thing.
Yeah.
Um, Also, little kids, they love my mother to death.
Well,
Little kids don't have that type of, it's us that have it in us, right? And when my mother finally came around my children, uh, she noticed that they didn't disrespect her or look at her weird. They were little too. But she was saying that her other children's children kind of, she knows when her children is talking bad about her, because their children treat her a certain way, right?
yes.
Um, so she was like, I noticed you don't talk bad about me. You don't down me because your kids respect me. They love me. And then she'll be like, my brother's kid, your brother's kids came the other day and I said hi to your nephew and he just stared at me up and down and looked at me up and down and laughed and walked away. And he disrespected me the whole time because my brother told him and he knows and he's witnessed. That's what she doesn't understand. He's witnessed her do certain things too, right? And that's why he treats her that way. But my children love her to death, and I don't create that environment of discord. I do have strong boundaries
Therese.
when it comes to mine and anybody else coming over this way that I know you messed up. Don't come over here with that stuff with my babies now.
Hmm. Yeah.
Okay. Got real strong boundaries, and she know them. She realized them too. She realized when I tell my son something, or when they be like, "Ma, can we spend the night with grandma?" I'll be like, "No, maybe next time." She know that next time will never come.
Right. And that's a good thing. You know what I mean?
But
Because
they love her. They don't.
so many people
I
don't.
don't create that discord because my daughter now that she's 17, she might have some gripes of certain things that my mother has done in the past because she's older and she has better understanding now. Now
Right.
she has her own thought process on my mother. It
Right.
kind of aligns with everybody else, but it wasn't something I force fed her.
Got you. That's awesome if you think about
Yeah.
it, because so many people in your situation would not have handled it like that, and their kids would be, resentful of the grandmother. Because I kind of dealt with that a little bit with mine, just a little, until I had to kind of tell them. I said, this is your grandma. She is your blood. You know, weren't for
Yeah.
her, I wouldn't be here. Neither would you.
Mm-mm.
But you know what the funny thing is too, we were talking before we came on. I was in the hospital for 2 weeks having my youngest, and I was dying. And so
Wow.
they sent my son home with my grandparents at 6 days old. And so they kept him
Wow.
for 8 days. And
Wow.
yeah, I think about that today. It's like, dang, they kept him for 8 days, my grandparents.
Yeah. My grandmother had my daughter for 2 months
And
while I went back to
you
school
can
and
see
finished up a semester of school.
yeah, you can see I can tell the difference between him, and my daughter, and the other thing is too, my grandmother she'd already prophesied over my child in my womb. Like,
And that's what they're good for, to bless, to fortify and bless. And
what she did.
come on.
She called me. It was funny. I was actually here in Washington State. My grandmother lived in Georgia. And she called me this one day and she said, "How's the baby doing?" And my daughter was about 10 months old. And she said, "How's the baby doing?" I said, "Oh, she's good," and this and that. She said, "I'm not talking about that one." She said, "I'm talking about the one in your stomach." Girl, I had not told a soul that I was pregnant.
That she was pregnant and she knew.
Nobody. My husband didn't even know. And she said, "I'm talking about the one in your stomach." She said, "That's your son."
Oh,
She said, "And he's blessed of God. He has a call of God on his life. And these are things she prophesied over my baby." And so when they took him for 8 days, at that point he was theirs, right?
yeah. That
They
point,
done, they done
that's their
spoiled
baby.
my child so
That's
bad.
their baby.
It was theirs, holding them and rocking them. I laughed. I said, right before my grandfather died, that was one of the last things he said to me was, "How Dill Pickle doing?" They called him
Oh.
Dill Pickle because his name is Dylan. And that was one of the last things that he said to me before he died because I talked to him on the phone. And he uh he was like, "Yeah, and if you talked to him on the phone, girl, you would have never known he was dying. He sounded strong. And probably within 2 hours he was gone."
And you know what? My daughter's grandmother was like that. She loved that little girl
Hmm.
to death. She would come and get my daughter and have her for a whole month. And
Nice.
that was her only granddaughter too. Because her son never had any other children. She's the only granddaughter for that side of the
Oh,
family. And I think what that did for her, having that grandmother there and going for summers to her grandma, and they in the country, they in Valdosta, girl, they
oh,
in
girl, I
Madison,
know.
Florida, child,
I was gonna say I know about Valdosta.
girl, they in Winter Robins, girl, Winter
Oh,
Robins,
I
Florida,
know Warner
baby, yeah,
Robin too. Been
they
there
in
many
country,
times.
huh? That's that Madison, Florida, baby, on that Georgia, Florida line. That's
Yeah.
where her people from.
Okay.
So they were country. She was around a lot of older people. She had a chance to meet her great granddad, even though she was young. He
That's
saw her.
amazing.
He saw her,
Yeah.
Papa Manny. So with her, when I split with my ex, finally my ex-husband, we split, she just went into extra mommy mode. All of a sudden it just came out.
Hmm.
Boy, what you doing? She sounded just like her grandma. Boy, go sit down somewhere. you know, she just, and I would be like, you do not have to do any of that. They have a mother right here. And she's like, no, but I like to help. And I love my little brothers. And I'm like, oh,
That was me. But now
uh,
I feel like I grew
uh,
up at 10, so I could was raising them.
yeah, but I don't allow her to raise my children. She may correct them. I may give all of them a task and she's the leader because she's older.
Right.
But she lives her life. She had a great childhood. That's one thing, she didn't have to raise her younger ones. She never had to watch them.
But you have to credit yourself for that because
Thank
because
you.
because so many people do that, but a lot of times they don't even realize they're doing it.
Yeah.
They just push some kids off on the older ones and stuff like that, and they don't realize what they've done usually till way later. And then the other person, because I actually met a girl that she said she went off on her mother because she basically made her raise her younger siblings, so she didn't have a childhood either. And
Child.
I
My
laughed.
daughter would show me stories on Snapchat or TikTok, and she was like, I'm so happy I'm not them. I'm like, girl, you spoiled behind. She's like, dang, this must be tough. And like, she'll come to me and she'll be like, Mom, I seen a TikTok story and her mama was doing this to her and such and such and such and such. And I was like, yeah, baby.
It happens.
And she's like, Ma, you're like one of the only mothers that apologize when you do something wrong.
Yeah, no, they don't apologize. Yeah.
Right. Because
And
I taught my children, don't let anybody disrespect you, not even your mother.
me too. And I always did that, because I believed, I told people, I said, I saw how my mother raised my younger siblings, and I decided that that was not that was not our story.
Yeah.
And it was it seemed like it was a generational curse on that side of the family with the boys not graduating from high school. And I said, no, no.
Yeah.
I mean, my son, when me and my ex split up, my son was about 15, I think. I think they were like 15 and 17 when we finally split up. And so, that part, that's hard. People are like, oh, well, they at least they were big. No, that was hard because he started acting out and doing all kind of stupid stuff. And
Mm-hmm.
I recognized it. So, I snatched him up and put him in therapy. I was like, you're gonna go see a counselor. He's gonna
Yes.
see a counselor. And then I told him he was like doing stuff, with the school. So, the people were calling me. I said, listen, if Jason calls me one more time, because I'm on a first name basis with the assistant principal,
Lord.
he calls me one more time. I was like, you going to the military school because you are going to graduate. I don't care what anybody else is doing. But in this house, you're going to graduate from high school at least. And then you need to either go to trade school or college or something. The military, I don't care where you go, but you will not be around here being a no good for nothing, nothing. Because
I
I'm
know
not.
that's right. Ooh, I know that. Ooh, girl.
So that boy walked
I
across
know
that
that's
stage,
right.
right? So that boy walked across that stage. So I
I
was
know
like,
that's right. I know
well,
that's
I'm
right.
telling you, girl, we sat down and we counted the number of the boys on that side of the family that graduated from high school and even college.
So you're a generational curse breaker.
For
Nice
sure.
to meet you, boo.
You're
Nice
welcome.
to meet you. Ain't
Too.
many around, girl.
But
You're
the
a
thing,
rare commodity.
girl, I was not playing. I said, I said, I worked too hard, because back in those days, girl, I was working two and three and four jobs. I said, I worked too hard to make sure that you have what you need. And
Yes.
what y'all asses is spoiled. I said, I did, whatever. My son was an actor. So we would go to different places. And after a while, he would have people calling him. Sometimes, girl, he didn't even have to audition. He would have people
Dang.
calling him and saying, I need a young boy, blah, 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 whatever. And so we did that. So I went, place to place to place, different places. And then I don't know if you know, when they act in plays and stuff, you have to get the stuff for the costumes and things. So I would
Okay.
have to go to Goodwill or the Salvation Army or somewhere. That's where they would send us to get the different things. And then they had somebody that would, stitch it up and trim it up to fit them and, all of that. So yeah, so all this stuff. And then in the middle of all that, girl, we was doing the church thing. Because we was at a mega church, working in the church, me, the kids, my ex, all of us worked in the church, doing all kinds
Yeah.
of stuff. The children was in the praise team for the youth, and me and my daughter sang in the choir, and I did the prayer ministry and the
I
phone
think that's one
prayer.
thing that my boys probably, out of everything, that's one thing that they might have missed out on with me being single. Is because when I was married, I was a church woman. I was going to church. I was a praise and worship leader, minister, doing all types of stuff, right? But when I came here and I separated myself and I started working alone with my children, I still was going to church, but it was different.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know what was different about it,
You?
but it was different. And then I would like to say that my gifts evolved. It got to a point where I couldn't walk into the church without feeling or seeing or sensing or I couldn't listen to the pastor preach because he was preaching wrong information. So I would go sit with the kids and then I would listen to the kids teachers teaching. And what I mean about wrong information is not that I know it's wrong information. Alarms started going off in my head as
Girl,
they started preaching.
we're gonna have to do this again.
We're gonna have to talk, baby.
I'm
Let's
telling
go,
you.
Miss Tammy.
I'm telling you, that is the same thing. Girl, I would go in there like this, like I would go in there like a horse with blinders.
Yes.
Like let me try to see if I can get something, because other than that, people were, things were happening. I was seeing things, and
Yes.
and I always did. I always had those, but
Girl,
I
I
had
would go
suppressed
home
them.
from church boohoo crying. I would be in my room, locked in my room, crying away from my kids so they wouldn't see it. Like I'll cook them something real quick and run upstairs to my room and be boohoo. And I would be all depressed, and I didn't have any reason to be depressed. But those people at that church, I'm picking up on
Just
them.
picking up all their stuff.
Yeah, and then that's when I realized, okay, I thought my ministry was in church, but it's not. It's out here for all of y'all. My name is Queen Seer. This was a pleasure, man. Love you.
Yes, ma'am. I'm telling you. So now what I want you to do is I have one question that I ask all the guests. If you could change anything in the world, what would that be and why?
I would change the systems of institutions and cause them to not exist.
Mm.
Because the systems of institutions is what's keeping us away from deep esoteric knowledges that our ancient ancestors knew on this earth. Those systems are causing us to believe limiting beliefs like it's really true.
Yes.
Those systems keep women apart from men, black apart from white. It's those systems. If I could find that, go back in time and found that person that was like, let's create this and just push them, be like, go sit down somewhere. Everything will be good.
I agree with that. It's just division. It's just like all the different religions. I told somebody the other day, I said, do you know that there are whole religions that are based on some shit that Paul said in the Bible that Jesus didn't
Yes,
say?
yes. And people don't know that. And do you know
Everybody.
that there are Christians that do not believe that Jesus was born on the 25th? They celebrating his birthday today, January 7th. Huh?
Well,
There's about
my thing about that
400,
is, what did that even matter?
girl, there are 400 different denominations under the umbrella of Christianity.
I didn't know it's that many.
It's a lot. Yeah, there's just common ones that everybody know about, but there's other
Yeah, like the ones
small,
that
yeah,
took the one scripture and created a doctrine.
yes,
And
there
they're
you
over here
go.
manipulating people to another level and brainwashing people, into believing that they are unworthy. Because I'm telling you, girl, when I hear them people say, you're a sinner saved by grace, I said, bullshit. I call bullshit. No.
We gonna have to talk because we gonna have to talk about that young lady that got shamed on TikTok by that pastor in Virginia right quick, baby. We gonna have to do a part two.
Okay, okay. All right. So let the people know where they can find you, where they can connect with you. And if you have anything
Awesome.
going on, like any programs or anything that you want to share, any of that kind of stuff you can share. And you can also, if you have any links for that type of stuff, you can send them to
I
me.
gotta type it in. I'm so sorry.
You can send it to me.
Definitely, I'm typing it in right now. So
Oh no,
what I
no, no,
have right
no.
now, for everybody, it's the beginning of the year 2025, and I want to have new beginnings. So for right now, all of my services are 60% off. I do mediumship, parental womb healing,
Nice.
mind body alignment, which is really the behavioral therapy. And I also do quantum healing. So right now, those are 60% off. You can go to QS Infant 8, which I'm trying to type, but it doesn't
No,
turn.
no, 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 no.
I'll send it to you.
I was gonna say it's gonna be in the descriptions.
Okay, awesome. So I'll
Don't
send
worry
that
about
to
it.
you and you can go online and I do have the coupon code for you. You can
Nice.
either do a one-on-one, one-off session or you can get a bundle package where you get 3 or 4 sessions depending on the package that you choose and you do have access to workbooks, videos, and guided meditations on my website as well for those packages. So I will have that for you guys and I'm so excited to meet you all from this podcast.
I'm
Yay.
excited that you came. I'm excited that we were able to do it.
Yes, yes. So I do offer those 4 services: mediumship, I'm lying. I do offer coaching. I do offer coaching because a lot of people were asking how to develop gifts and all of that stuff. So I'm like, okay. So we do the mediumship, the mind body alignment, the coaching or the mentorship if you're trying to develop your gift, and quantum healing. Majority of my services does include individualized hypnotic journeys, and it does include Reiki healing, irregardless if you get the bundle or the one-on-one.
That is amazing. So you guys definitely check her out. Make sure you check out her links. They're going to all be in the description wherever you're listening or watching. So, I'm so excited. And I'm excited to see what, God is going to bring through you now and next.
Amen.
Because I see
Amen.
so many amazing things happening for you and through you.
Amen.
Yeah,
Amen.
because you are
Amen.
powerful and you are so gifted, and it's amazing because you and I do very similar things, It's,
Yeah. Yeah.
but it's so awesome because even though we do similar things, we do them in different ways.
Yes,
It's powerful.
everybody's gifts is their own unique thing.
Yeah.
So be on the lookout on my website. You can also find me on Be Care and Tillis, my page, or Queen Seer, which is my business page. I will be collaborating with another practitioner where we'll be doing a workshop on gifts and
Nice,
development of gifts,
nice.
because a lot of people think they have them, but then they don't know if they're using them, and it can get complicated. So, just a quick workshop on the 101s when it comes to gifts, and just realizing a lot of people are using them and don't know.
Yeah, well, and I talk about that all the time too. I say, because people ask, well, do I have, I don't think I have gifts. I said, everybody has them. I said, many times you just don't use them. You don't utilize them. I said, we all have them and it's easy,
Yeah,
but it takes trust.
it does.
That's really the main thing is you have to trust because, from a child, we heard things and saw things and some of us had, what do they call those people? Imaginary friends and stuff like that. We all know
Yes.
those are just our spirit guides, our
Some
angels.
of them were attachments that we created. Ooh.
Okay, that's a whole nother time. We're gonna do
Let's
another
go,
one.
baby.
So thank you so much for joining us on Straight Up
Thank you, my love.
Savannah.
This was beautiful. Thank you.
Guys, and we are gonna do a part two.
We
So
definitely have to. I'm gonna be in your inbox. Don't worry.
okay, so definitely make sure you're checking it out. This thing was so fire. I mean, I've been talking to her for probably about an hour, and I'm just so grateful that you came,
Thank
and we were able to connect this thing. So anyway,
thank you.
thank you
Thank
so much for
you.
joining me.
It was a blessing. Thank you. Thank you for the reminder because I almost forgot, but
Oh
thank you
no,
for connecting.
you are welcome because I was like, now she reached out to me yesterday.
I know, and I'm like on my calendar, it says another day. I put the wrong date because I
No.
have so many things that I'm putting on my calendar that I just put it down wrong.
I understand that. That's why I was laughing with you. I'm like, girl, I know all about that because I have had that. I have stuff I was like, now wait, was this supposed to be such and such a day? Or
Yeah.
let me go back to the message. I can't find the message, so I know how that goes.
Girl, yeah. I'm like, where the message at? It's been
Let
that long.
me go back that up. So anyway, we thank y'all for joining us, and wherever you're
Thank
watching,
you.
make sure that you like, share, and you subscribe, that you comment and let us know how this thing landed for you because this thing was fire. We talked about so many things. I honestly did not even know where this was going to go because I didn't have any expectations. I just, said, let's open it up. But that's how I do my shows. I don't have expectations. I
And I
say,
love it because it
where
was
it goes, it
free
goes.
and open.
Yes,
It was free. Yeah. I
yes,
loved it. Don't
yes.
change at all.
Never. We'll never do that. So again, thank you so much. And thank you for joining me. Thank y'all for watching and listening. Um, and I appreciate you. And I hope that your day is magical.
Awesome. Bye, everyone.